Hey, man.
Hey, Dorian, how's it going?
Pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Weather's perfect here in LA, and I have no complaints.
Nice. Very cool. Very pleased to meet you finally.
You too, man.
Let's see. I think I'm connected.
Oh, hey, AJ.
Hey. Hello.
So now wait, who's in New York and who's in Georgia?
Oh, I'm in New York. AJ.
I'm in Georgia.
Oh, great. Which part of New York?
I'm actually from Long Island.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm. It's a pleasure. It is definitely a pleasure to meet you.
Well, thank you. Same here.
Awesome.
It's nice to be on the stream. Someone's going to have to kind of explain to me what this is.
Basically, this is okay. So this is the second year running. It's Sonic the Hedgehog anniversary stream, just celebrating the anniversary of the character, but also raising money for a good cause. Last year I believe we did
Nationwide Children's Hospital.
Yeah, for Children's Hospital. This time
we're
doing
great.
it for, this time we're doing it for mental health awareness. And
that's great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. That's all Emi's idea.
So are we live now, or?
Yep.
Yes.
We are live.
We are live.
We are live right now. We have a lot of people tuning in, and our chat they are very, very excited to hear.
Oh, great. Yeah. Awesome. Cool.
Right on.
Well, it is way past a lot of people's bedtimes. That's all I have to say.
It's definitely past mine. I know that.
I think it's past all of our bedtimes right now.
Yeah.
Everybody in my house is sleeping, so I've locked myself in the office. I've closed the doors, and I'm hoping that I'm not gonna wake my son up, at least, because he doesn't like to be woken up.
Gotcha. How is he, by the way?
Oh, he's great. God, he is just, he is his own little force. He's he just wants to start crawling everywhere, and now he's, my wife sings to him all the time, so now he's singing back to her. We're like, wait a minute, are you 2 years old now? What the fuck?
Oh my God.
It's crazy, but he's really he's our little monkey man. We call him our little monkey because he sort of looks like a cute hairless monkey. But we love him, and he's really digging LA, and the cliche sunny 74-degree days. It's really been nice.
Nice. Very
Yeah,
cool.
they're really great.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
What do you guys do? Are you all now? I mean, I know you do voiceovers, but how about the rest of you guys? What do you do?
Okay. Well, for me, I'm let's see, I pretty much do a lot of visual stuff. So like animation or comics or, video editing. So, I got my undergrad in animation, and right now I'm currently at SCAD, getting my master's in sequential art.
Oh, great. Wow.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Yeah. I was just trying to make a career out of that. Just trying to do cool stuff just in entertainment, just visually. But that's pretty much it. Still got to figure out what I'm going to do when I get out of here. But yeah.
Have you gotten any opportunities to do internships or work at any production companies or anything like that?
Not quite yet. I think the only thing I've done, well, so far I worked at this really crappy graphic design place at one point, but my school requires us to have an internship, or a couple of them rather, before we were even eligible to graduate, and they really set us up to really work in the industry. Because when I got my undergrad, they really didn't set us up for the realities of what the industry would have, But here, they really work you to make sure that you're ready for everything when you get out of here. In fact, you have to do like a big evaluation where like all the faculty views all your work and judges, whether or not you're ready to graduate or not.
God, that's so important too. I'm almost dumbfounded by how many schools and universities don't really set you up for the real world situations,
Yeah.
Even, I was in an acting program for several years back in New York. And, the one thing I really caught my attention was how many people came out of universities taking acting classes and whatnot, and they had no idea what sides were, they had no idea how to approach a script, and they, it's just so funny that, you know, these schools will take so much of your money, but then when they dump you out, you know, afterwards, and it's like you don't really have a clue as to how to get along, you know, how to like,
exactly
apply yourself.
Yeah.
So that's really good. And the other thing is, I feel like, you know, the real world, being at like whatever you want to do, to actually be at that place interning or watching, and, you know, just being in that environment is probably, if not more, at least on par with what you learn in any schools, you know, just being on, you know, what's the word? You know, being present in that environment, I think, is really, really important.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know,
agree.
not just from learning, but also from you know, the people you meet,
Mm-hmm.
you know, with voiceover and you know, with my career, is really, it's been so important to just meet people, and the people that, you know, introduced me to other people, and, you know, the people I've, you know, sort of, you know, started relationships with, and then years later, you know, they're still doing projects and whatnot and calling me, you know, it was just one of the most important aspects. You know, without that, I definitely wouldn't have had, you know, the success that I had.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Yeah. It's great to, you know, like, it's great to know that, you know, because it's like when I got out of school the first time, it was just a horrible time period afterwards, because I'm just like, is this just what this world is? Am I just kind of doomed to not really get anything? And just kind of know that it was a fluke on my school's part is really good to know. Because I'm just like, this is it's hard out here, man. You know, it's tough.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit what I do. But AJ, you wanted to tell them what you do on your scene?
Sure. I do a lot of freelance graphic design, mostly all self-taught. I also do.
Cool.
Yeah, and I do video editing and make my own videos and work on Emi's YouTube stuff.
Oh, that's great. You know, that's so. Which program do you use when you edit?
Oh, for graphic design or videos?
For the video, yeah.
Oh, for videos, I use Sony Vegas.
Sorry?
Sony Vegas.
Oh, Sony Vegas. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just started teaching myself how to edit on iMovie.
Oh boy.
You know,
awesome.
I mean, you know, yeah, I mean, just to get my feet wet and really start to figure out what's what, and even that seems overwhelming to me. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many titles to choose from. There's so many transitions, but you know, it's good when, you know, for me, because I'm so clueless with video editing, but at least, you know, I'm able to start with the very, very basic stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh man.
Oh, right on. Yeah, like I actually got started. I got started doing that too when I was video editing. But I used I had a Windows, so I used I used Movie Maker. Like when I started making.
Okay, me too.
And stuff. Yeah. Like
I'm raising my hand too. I use Movie Maker.
I think a lot of us started on Windows Movie Maker back in 2003.
Oh, dude, that was like 2010. 2010.
2010. Oh, okay. I forgot. I'm
like,
the only one who was like 10 years old making stupid little Sonic things. I'm like, oh yeah, here's a great AMV. Slap some Linkin Park on it.
Oh God, no!
I made magic.
Yes, you did.
Really?
For sure. You did for sure.
All right, is that what we're gonna call that, magic?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it.
All right.
So who? I'm curious. Who have you guys had on today?
Oh wow, we had a whole slew of
list
people.
for sure.
Let's look at the list.
Yeah, do you want me to? I let me go in order. We
saw
started
Dave
out.
Wills.
We did, yeah, for sure. And he said hi, by the way.
Oh, hey, Dave.
Mm-hmm. And we got Oliver Wyman for a little bit.
Yeah.
He is really great. He's also a fellow gamer, so we kind of geeked out for a little bit. That was really great.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. We had Mike on for a little bit too. We had, who else did we have? I'm a little tired. So
we had Bill Corkery.
Oh yeah. provided for SVO before X, so he was an adventure era actor.
Mm-hmm. We also had
cool.
James. We had James Cathcart.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Wow, okay, cool.
Yeah, we had a lot of people here. It was really great.
I just left all of them in New York, and I miss them all. Now that you're mentioning all of their names.
Right on. Were you guys like hanging out down in the New York area, just kind of a get together?
What? Sorry.
Oh, were you all just hanging out in New York, just kind of like a big get together, just hanging out?
No. I mean, just I would see them on a weekly basis because we'd all be in the same studios working. It was common for one session to be ending, so I would show up at the studio when Mike's session would be ending, and I'd get to watch the last few minutes of whatever he was recording, and then I would go in, and then whoever was coming in after me would show up before I ended. So you just sort of see everybody all the time. Mm-hmm. And in fact, I hadn't seen God, I don't even remember the last time I saw James. It must have been several months ago. But now I'm out in LA and I don't know anybody. So
right.
Great.
Where are you at in LA?
We're in Pasadena.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Okay.
So it's beautiful, and we have a really, really cool house that we got, and really great neighbors, and it's just so, like, as I said, it's so cliche that the weather's awesome, and the people are friendly, drivers are crazy, and it's just, it's like a dream come true. I've wanted to live in LA since, so I left Ohio in 1998.
Good choice.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong about that. Although I'm much love for Ohio. There's no, which, that's something I wanted to ask you too, Emi, about are you able to get voiceover work in Ohio, or do you have to generate all of that yourself? Because I can't, aside from doing like educational videos, or if you're working for a news station or something, I feel like there's not a lot of opportunities for that sort of thing. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, so I wound up finding an agency, and they were able to get me radio work. So a lot of commercials. Yeah, which is really great. Not so much with what I obviously would want, which I'd like to do, like more character related stuff.
Right.
A lot of that is like kind of generated online. And I actually got hooked up with this casting director from LA, who is going to work with me to cast me from my house. So that's
great.
Yeah, that's how I'm doing that thus far, but I don't really want to stay here. I also want to relocate out there. I want to go to Burbank.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? I think that's a smart move, especially if you want to do animation. I feel I got really lucky in New York because there's not as much animation there as there is here. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things my agent actually talked to me about before I left, was saying, you do a lot of commercial work here, but in LA it's going to be more animation, just because that seems to be the nature of the beast out here, and not as many ad agencies out here as in New York. So I think that'd be a good move. Cool. God, guys, thanks. If I start blabbering on, just stop me, because I'm also pretty tired over here, and I get pretty punch drunk when I'm tired.
Oh, no.
I think we could just start diving right into some interview questions.
I do. Before we get into the interview questions, I did have one definite thing I wanted to ask. Since you have relocated out to California and you're a former New Yorker, I'm curious, like, what was your favorite thing about New York?
Oh God. I mean, it was the people that I knew, the people that people are just, if you put yourself in the right situation, people really prove themselves to be who they truly are. And I'll give you an example. My mother, she still lives in Ohio, and she only made it out once to visit me, and that's just because she wasn't able to take off of work, and she just it was really hard for her to I think travel. And when my wife and I got married, I had a lot of friends from New York come and be part of the wedding, and we did this sort of camp out thing where everybody got together and we all had cabins, and it was really cool. And it was the first time my mom met any of my friends from New York. And I just remember at one moment she sort of pulled me aside and she was so emotional. And she's like, "Your friends are wonderful." And she's like, I'm like, "Well, what were you expecting?" She's like, "I don't know, drug dealers, just assholes." And I was like, "Oh, no, that's not them at all." So when I was leaving, when we were moving to LA, one of the things she was upset about, she's like, "But what about all your wonderful friends?" I was like, "Well, I'll still see them. They'll still see me, and they're wonderful people in LA too." So, well, aside from that, it's so convenient to get around New York, and you could have like 5 auditions in a day and just jump on the subway or walk to each one, and you could, you didn't have to Uber everywhere. You didn't have to drive. It's probably insane to try to drive to do something like that in New York. So I would say the people, the convenience, and the opportunities that New York affords. I think those are second to none.
Cool. Right on, man. Nice.
So now that you're actually over there, I assume you know Pete, right? Capella?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Pete and I, he was in New York for a while. And then the last time I saw Pete was at this, this weird, it was the last convention I ever went to.
SonicCon?
I want to say it was, was that it? Okay, so the one they had like Tupperware bins of real hedgehogs, and I just remember it was supposed to be this huge event, and then something, I forget, like a water main broke or something. It was like a week before we showed up.
Oh
so
no!
The hotel called everyone and canceled the reservations, but didn't let anybody from the convention know. So there were like 5 people there, I feel like, and Pete was there, so that was fun. We were able to hang out, and Mike was there, Lisa was there. I just remember one night we all did karaoke. I sort of remember, and it was, that's the thing with people in this biz. It's really easy to have a good time. You can go out and have fun with people, and they're usually really outgoing and
for sure
funny people. Yeah.
And Pete's actually out in Beverly Hills now, so you should go and hang out with him.
I'm gonna yell Pete as loud as I can over my balcony and see if he can hear me.
Do it.
I'm not really gonna do that.
Yeah, but he's pretty nearby. So if I know you mentioned missing your friends, so there's someone.
Yeah, that is a great idea. It's been a while since I've seen Pete. It would be good to see him.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Absolutely.
You know what? I'm actually curious. How did you get your start with just voice acting at all?
So going far way back, I wanted a video camera. So, can I say fucking on this? Or is
yes,
that
it's
not
fine.
charitable? Okay.
It's pretty late.
All right. So I just wanted it so effing bad that a video camera, and we grew up my family didn't have much money, and I think we were really struggling to make ends meet. And these are things that a kid doesn't really realize when he's a kid. And so instead of video camera for Christmas or my birthday, I would get tape recorders, with cassette tapes. And so I made do with what I wanted to do with the video camera so badly with the cassette recorder. So I was doing a lot of voiceover stuff for my own benefit, just having fun with it. And my sister and I would make up characters. We actually had like a running quote unquote imaginary television show where we played all the characters, and she played my drunk mother, and I played her son who talked like this and said hi everybody, yes, it's Timothy Arkin.
That's awesome.
And and so then flash forward, years later in high school, the principal came up to me and he's like, you've got a great voice and we'd really love for you to do the morning announcements. So I did the morning announcements for a year. And then when I came out to New York, I was auditioning for, on-camera commercials and stuff. And I think my first audition, or the first thing that I booked voiceover-wise that I can remember was for Zit Cream. Some freaking Zit Cream. And I was so nervous. I went in and I just remember because I booked the audition and I didn't have to wear headphones for the audition. So I was like totally in my zone. I did the commercial, no problem, booked it. And I get into the studio and I never even considered not taking off the headphones that they gave me at the booking. And I got so in my head, and this is something that a lot of people, I guess, contend with, where you either you fall in love with your voice and you sort of schmooze it a little bit when you're listening to yourself on headphones, or you do what I did and got fucking paranoid and just really tongue-tied and did a really, really, really piss poor job. As far as I remember, I could really be blowing this out of proportion. But I just remember either the director or the producer, whoever it was, she came into the booth. She needed to be with me alone to say, okay, do you remember what you did in the audition? Please do that right now. And I was like, oh yeah, right. Okay. Sorry about the last 45 takes. And I don't know if the commercial ever ran. And I just remember leaving that booking, being the first voiceover booking I had, saying, I will never, ever do this again. I was so humiliated.
Really?
I was upset. Oh my God, I was upset at myself. When you totally expect the complete opposite of what happened to happen. Well, that was
yes.
it. I expected, when you book a job and you're there, you're on cloud nine. You feel like everything's going your way, and to walk out of there thinking, my God, they're going to replace me, and I didn't deliver, and everybody was just upset when I left. and I thought I would never, ever do that again. And, the next day my agent sent me on another audition. I think I booked that. And, I learned to deal with it. I learned to deal with the nerves. And then I met a casting director named Janet Eisenberg, who is wonderful, wonderful casting director in New York. And she was the very first person to tell me during an audition, she's like, that was a great take. Now take off the headphones. And I was like, oh, okay. It seemed very risky to me, but I took off the headphones and I did another take, and I ended up booking that job. And so ever since then, I've always, if I'm wearing headphones, I always take one side completely off and I take the other one and just sort of partially put it on my ear so I can at least hear if the director's directing me, or if, it's never to hear myself. I never, ever want to hear myself when I'm recording, because it's not what I'm doing in life. I'm not talking to you guys and listening to my voice. I'm thinking of the ideas that I'm hopefully formulating, clearly, and, listening to you guys, but I never, ever want to hear my voice. And I almost don't understand when people do, for a couple of reasons, but mostly because I never think, anytime I record something and I'm listening to my voice as I'm recording it on headphones, it never, ever sounds the way I think it sounds when I play it back. I've done auditions, like home auditions, where I've recorded things with headphones on, listening, because I'm at home and I can do it in 90 takes if I want. But listening back, I'll think while I'm recording it, oh, fuck yeah, that was the take right there. And I'll listen back and I'll be like, wait, did I not record the thing I just heard? It's totally different. So, yeah. So I think it's delusion. So I just prefer to not have the headphones on at all.
Yeah, that's fair. Especially if you're really picky. For me, if I record by myself, I will take a million takes. But if I'm with someone like Dorian, who will sometimes be directing me, he's like, all right, no, that one's good. I'm like, let me give you 5 more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's all the time.
Yeah,
it really is. Mess.
It's a sign of perfectionism, and that can be really a slippery slope, because what you do on your first to third take might be gold, but if you're listening to something completely different, that's why, if you guys are ever do on-camera stuff and you get headshots taken, they always say, show these to like 20 different people and get, people in the biz, not necessarily just your friends or your family, because everybody's going to be looking for something different. But never ever look at your headshot proof sheet by yourself in a void, because you're going to look at one picture and go, that's exactly, I love this picture. But you're looking at something that nobody else can see. And so when a casting director or say an agent looks at your proof sheet, they're like, oh no, this one. And you're like, what, are you nuts? Look at that. I look like a horse, but they're seeing something that's marketable or something that's usable, or in the case of voiceover stuff, they're hearing the take that is clearly the best take for them, or can totally be used. And that's why I 100% of the time prefer auditioning for a casting director as opposed to doing like home recordings, which are great. I love both, but and home recordings are definitely much more plentiful than going out to see casting directors, especially these days. But still, just having an interaction with someone where they can hear what you're doing and then give you an adjustment. Because a lot of times recording at home in this vacuum or this void, you're giving yourself adjustments, but then, if you do it for an hour, the adjustments start sounding like they're coming from someone who just dropped acid. And it's like, you start sweating. You're like, what are we talking about here? Wait a minute. I can't even, products don't even sound like you're saying Pillsbury. And like, what kind of word is Pillsbury? That's not even a word anymore.
What a mood.
Very interesting. You know what? Actually, speaking of all methods of auditions, I'm very curious. What we've been having a lot of conversations with people from 4Kids Entertainment, like Mike Pollard, when he was here, definitely brought in a lot of insight on just how things worked there. How did you get to voicing Sonic? 'Cause I think I remember you saying something about you came in for Chris first.
Yeah. Well, I auditioned for 4Kids first with Shaman King, and I didn't get anything. And I was like, well, of course I did, and I suck. And then I went back. Then they called me back in for Sonic, and then they had me come in for Chris. Well, I was going to audition. No, you know what happened? I auditioned for Sonic using a certain voice, and then I did Chris. Then I auditioned for Chris, and Michelle Dunn, who's the producer there, said, okay, let's go back to the Sonic audition, and the voice that you just used for Chris can use for Sonic. And being a novice at the time, I was like, oh, that sounds crazy. I don't know if that'll work. What did I know? What the fuck did I know? But so I did it, and we did a callback, and I think at the callback we did it to picture. Like, I think the first audition was just wild, where they just roll the take and you just read the lines off the page. And then the second was I think we stopped and started like each line and we synced it up. I think they wanted to see if I could do a lip sync, or the flap. Mm-hmm. What am I talking about again? Yeah, I'm still on New York time, guys.
Oh no, you're
it's
totally
okay.
fine.
It's okay. We're all in the same time zone. We're all dying right now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's
great.
all
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Is anybody listening to this?
Yeah.
Like, how do you
Over
guys know if anybody's
people?
actually out there?
We have 200 viewers.
People.
Correct.
Whoa.
Listening to us BMS.
There are 200 people listening into this right now.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Let's hear from them all. Let's go. Sound out,
okay.
guys.
Okay. Let me think. Okay, so that pretty much covers the audition. There's also this too. I noticed that there was a difference in the direction of voice that you had for Sonic in the beginning. I would say maybe for the first 9 episodes or so, Sonic sounded in a particular way, and then he sounded very different later on. Was this a conscious choice that you made?
Yes. Now, don't. I want to say don't quote me on this, but that's a mistake. I'm not 100% sure of this, but I'm almost positive that they played me Ryan Drummond's sound sample in the beginning and said, we want you to come close to this. They said not to match it, but come close. Mm-hmm. And so I think what I was doing in the beginning was trying to emulate what he was doing at the time. Again, this is sort of my memory, you know, piecing things together.
Mm-hmm.
And then either someone gave me a direction, or I just decided to, you know, I don't know. I mean, like, I just remember getting a lot of, I think it was MySpace mail at that time, and just talking about how dorky and how nasally this voice sounded. And I maybe partially of that. And I was like, well, maybe I'll make him sound cooler. And so then I just kind of approached it a little differently, where, you know, I don't know. I'm not sure exactly what I did, but I just made him cooler, as opposed to, like, you know, a nasally caricature of something that I was trying to imitate.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe in a way to say, like, I kind of took ownership of it a little more would be the closest way to answer that question.
Gotcha. Very interesting.
Very cool.
People were messaging you on MySpace about it?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh no.
It was nuts. I remember, like, you know, and there would be such hateful things, you know, like people just telling me to, like, go fuck myself. Like, come on, really? Like, you know,
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but that's awful. Like, people.
No, I mean, but you know, it's a rite of passage. You know, it's in one way you're like, what? Like, who would say that? But then another way, it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to tell everyone I know about this, because it's too. You know, like, nobody in my family has stories like that. So it's like, hey, Mom, guess what someone told me? Someone told me to go fuck myself on MySpace. It's awesome. They don't even know me.
Jesus.
I love how angry people get.
Well, I mean, okay, here's the thing. It's funny because, okay, so, like, when Sonic was coming out, okay, we were all like 10 or 11 when that was happening. So, so, like, so it's funny just kind of thinking about it. There were people that were just so invested at that time, like, just in how this character was supposed to be portrayed and acted, to the point where they would, like, go out of their way to, like, send you these really, like, angry messages. Just so, just the dedication was just astounding. And actually, you know, that reminds me, I listened to an interview that you did at one point, and you had mentioned that there was a guy.
Oh, yes.
There was a guy on the video that said something like, "Let me shut you up for there," or something like that.
Oh God, yeah, that was one of my favorite. And then Gareth Spriggs put that thing together. I think it was Gareth put that thing together, where it was like with music and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Or someone put it together. I know that was an interview with Gareth and Steven. Someone he was playing. It was like a video of this guy watching a video. And on the video he was watching was someone saying, "Jason Griffith, blah blah blah, did such a great job." And he just paused it. Let me shut you up for there. I was like, whatever that means, I want to keep saying it. So I was doing a play in Florida at the time, and I was rooming with the stage manager, and we would watch these crazy videos every night. And when that came out, we had for a full, like, 2 weeks, we were just like, yo, let me shut you up for that. Like, just interrupt any sentence that the person was saying, like, let me shut you up for that.
That's awesome, because, like, now with that whole thing, if it makes you feel better, it's okay. Like, they got, like, the guy that does Sonic now, Roger Craig Smith, like, they got him with it too. Like, as soon as they announced that Sonic, he got angry letters. They were like, "How could you take this away from Jason?" He's just like, "I just came to an interview, man. I don't know what you all."
Yeah. That's the thing, you know. It's not. There's no. I don't know. I don't fucking know.
People are very, very
Listen,
passionate.
like, everybody gets everybody loses parts to everyone else, and that's the same thing they said to me about Ryan. You know, when I did the character, and it's not like anyone. It's not like someone forced the job away from someone. You know, whoever the production team is, that's their call. You know, they're gonna do whatever they want to do, because they're dumping the money into the project. And, you know, if something's better off with a LA cast than a New York cast, then that's, you know, they'll do that. Or if they, you know, and a lot of times too, they don't want to like have one voice for years and years and years, I mean, some characters do, but they want to like shake things up, reinvent the character, make whatever it is fit the times. I don't know. I mean, it's just all like everybody try. It's why you don't hear the same announcer on McDonald's for 20 years. It's like you'd get tired of that guy. You'd want to hear. Like you ever listen to commercials from the 70s and everyone talks like, it's Marlboro, it's smooth, it's blah, blah, blah. It's like you got that announcer guy. Well, now, I mean, there's no Marlboro commercial, so that was a bad example. But now it's just like a dude who, like us talking. Like I'd be like, dude, did you try the new Whopper at McDonald's? Like that's a commercial because that's what people listen to. Yeah. They don't want the salesman anymore because you just don't trust that person. You trust that person enough to say they want my money and they want to sell me something. But you trust your friend to be like, oh, well, AJ knows about Whoppers, so get a Whopper. So I think the same thing with these characters, and maybe I'm off the mark a bit, but I especially with someone like, with Sonic, I think that if they feel they want to go in a different direction for any sort of demographical reason, they will. And I mean, I'm not a gamer. I don't, I haven't really kept up with what Roger's been doing, but he must be doing a good job if he's been the voice for how many ever years it's been now.
It's been about 8. It's about 8, yeah.
And the other thing is like who, I know let me just say, like, not as many people care about who voices a character than the overall total of people that play the game. Like, there's so many people that when I've told them, oh yeah, I used to be the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, they're like, oh, I didn't even know he had a voice. That's the typical answer. That's a majority of people are like, oh, I wasn't aware. Oh, what does he sound like? It's not like, oh my God, of course I know that voice. It's not like Homer Simpson where, he's Homer Simpson's 99% that voice, I don't know. It's just a smaller market for that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So I don't think it's not as important for Sega to say, well, it's got to be the same voice because so many people care about, not that many people, there are a lot of people, but not that many people care about who's voicing the character. I feel like if the game is fun to play, I think that's that's what Sonic's about. It's not the voice. It's the playability. It's how much fun, how many hours you can spend in front of the television playing that game.
Gotcha. Yeah, I would definitely agree. But definitely, before we continue on, I must say, for what it's worth, I thought your original portrayal on Sonic was really, really cool. I think when I was a kid, I think I had to be about 9 or 10 when the Foxbox, I think it was called, was playing promos for Sonic X, and there's this little stinger at the end of the trailer where you say, "I dare you to try" at the end. And I just freaked out when I heard that the first time.
Really?
Yeah, I'm gonna embarrass Dorian for a minute. Sometimes we'll be just chilling in calls, and he'll be like, "Here, Emily, listen to this. I dare you to try. Oh, it's so good." And I'm like, "Yeah, man, Dorian, it's good."
Yeah, it's
okay. No, I'll admit, I also am like, "Yeah, that's great."
Oh man,
I don't even remember that. I have no recollection of that whatsoever.
Oh wow,
really? Yeah, it's like I think it must be one of the first things recorded. I would assume, since it was like one of the first promos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like right before the show came out. You can find them on YouTube if you're curious.
Yeah, I'd be really interested to hear that.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. Like like just when we were kids, just to give a bit of our input on that. Like when we were kids, we definitely noticed that it was a different voice, but for us, it was just kind of like, yeah, it's a different person, but it still sounds like this voice is coming out of this character. You know what I mean? And it just
yeah.
Like the Sonic in the beginning definitely had this like he sounded like he was a really young teenager, like a really cool just laid back dude. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So it was really cool for us when we were growing up at that time. Definitely didn't think
that's cool.
At all. Yeah. It was really good.
Actually, for me, I did not notice a difference. But I also didn't notice a difference between any of the other characters, and there were a lot of changes. Like with Tails, he used to be voiced by like an actual kid, and then starting with X was then voiced by a female. Like for me, I guess as a kid, it wasn't really, oh wow, that's different. For me, it was like, well, that sounds like the character. Like, okay, well, regardless of any differences, that's Sonic, or that's Tails, or that's just what they sound like, and it's based off of, the characteristics. So for me, like, it didn't stand out at all. Like, oh wow, that's so different. I'm just like, oh man, Sonic's on TV now.
Yeah, exactly.
That was definitely point. Yeah, that was definitely like the era we all grew up in. We all grew up watching Sonic X when we were kids.
I watched it. I remember. Yeah, I checked it out the first day. I remember I was so excited I couldn't sleep. I think I took an extension cord and put my alarm clock by the stairwell so I wouldn't like miss it and fall asleep. And like I think I recorded it. It was like 6 o'clock in the morning. I recorded it. Then me and my cousin like watched it like all day for like 3 days after that came out.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
God,
it was really cool.
I remember when it first aired, and I was so excited. Because aside from commercials, which I'd been doing at that time, I'd never heard anything like a cartoon that I had recorded on television. So I remember, I think I was in Brooklyn, and I think I was taking Taekwondo at the time, and I was at my instructor's apartment, and we put it on, and I don't know what I was expecting, but I wasn't. I watched it and I was like, all right, I guess I never have to watch that again.
What?
Oh,
really?
No.
Is it because you struggle to like your own performance, or?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think, and maybe you guys can relate to this a bit, especially if you're perfectionists or whatnot. Again, like it's not a great thing. I mean, to a degree, because you watch things or you listen to things and you're like, oh, I could have done this. Oh, why wasn't it? When you see things in context, especially with the cartoons, because you record one line at a time, and a lot of times the other people aren't recorded yet, so you're kind of responding to nothing. You have to imagine what you're responding to. And then when you see it all put together, it's not exactly what you remember it to be. And sometimes now it's like, oh, that's even better than I thought it would be, or it's really turned out. But there's a lot of times, and I think that was one of the first times when I watched it, I thought, oh God.
Yeah, like
really,
like it felt like it could have been. I felt like, oh, it could have been so much better on my part, But that's. I've also seen commercials that I've done and said, for the first time, seeing them on TV and say, oh shit, I can't believe they replaced me. And then like seeing it again, I'm like, wait, that is me, because I don't recognize my voice. There's been two or three times where I'm like, oh God, that would have been such a good, like, I wish they would have kept me on that. And I was like, oh wait, no, they did. It's me. Right.
Wow.
Really interesting. Like I think the one time I can really only recollect dealing with that was when I made my first I think I made my first like big animation project, and the way I've definitely gotten past doing that is keeping in mind and remembering the mindset I was in and why I made the decisions that I did at the time, and just kind of more so being a fan of the past me at the time when I made that. So when it comes to doing it again, I'm like, oh, cool. I've learned from that experience. Now I can do this. But when I go back and look at it, it's just more so praising my my older self for making a thing. You know what I mean?
Totally. Oh man, that's great advice. It really is.
Thanks.
Jason, is there any advice that you would want to give to those who are aspiring to become voiceover artists?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
You're crazy. Don't do it.
And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If me saying don't do it is something that you listen to, then you shouldn't be doing it. The advice I would give someone who then decides to be crazy, I guess, and do it is do it with all your heart. Do it like, listen, something that I have to remind myself of is nobody put a gun to my head and said, you have to be an actor. Nobody told me I had to do this. So, and it's really easy to get jaded, and it's really easy to get really disappointed or down on yourself because there's so much opportunity for you to fail or do something that seems like failure when actually it's you learning and something that, you know, you see as bad actually turns out to be better later on. But it's not easy. However, sometimes when it rains, it pours. You know, there have been stretches of times where I haven't booked anything in like 6 months. And it really starts to wear on you because you really start to, you know, your mind starts that little monkey talk or whatever it is in your mind. What do they call it? The monkey brain, where it starts like throwing these little things in your path. And sometimes that brain says, well, I guess you made the wrong choice, or, you know, I guess you should have done that, or I guess you ruined this opportunity, or I guess, you know, it's all these little things, and especially when that's coupled with, all right, man, I went on 9,000 auditions and I haven't gotten even a call back.
Yeah.
And that happens to, if not everyone, 99% of everyone. You know, maybe it doesn't happen to Tom Cruise, but then all of a sudden one thing will happen and it will change everything. And, you know, you'll forget how bad you thought you had it. I remember, and I think this was before, I'm pretty sure this was before I was doing Sonic. No, actually maybe it was the year after. It was one of those times, and this is going to sound really hokey, and I promise you this is a true story. I hadn't booked anything, and I remember sitting in my apartment, and I don't know if you could call it praying or whatnot, but I sort of just like looked up and I said, all right, you know, give me some sort of sign if I'm supposed to be here, because I'm really getting pissed off and it doesn't seem like things are working out. And that day my agent called and he's like, oh, you booked this thing where I had to fly down to Miami and like host this Velvet Revolver concert on the internet, like live, and it was insane. Like it was something I could never even imagine doing. And all of a sudden it was like that the day that happened, the day that I sort of made my proclamation to say, all right, well, am I supposed to be here or am I not supposed to be here? It was like, boom, that happened. That also happened on a separate occasion with theater. And I sort of did the same thing. I remember clearly saying, all right, talking to whoever was listening, I said, give me a sign if this is supposed to be, if I'm supposed to be doing this, like, I just need a sign, because, I don't want to walk around and avoid anymore. And that night I got a call from who was one of my best friends to this day, Walter Hoffman. And he's like, listen, I want to cast you in this play. We're going to be doing it, next couple months at this theater in Manhattan. And, it turned into like 10 plays with him, and, led to a wonderful friendship. And, so I think my advice is that when the bad times come, don't expect to be happy about them, but you just have to keep in mind that it's a numbers game and things will get better, but not if you quit. So if you quit, you'll never know. But if you don't, keep working, like bust your ass, get the fire lit under you, do stuff you haven't done, associate with people that you haven't associated with. Here's another crazy story.
Okay.
The whole time I've been living in New York, I had my recording set up in an office upstairs, and I had curtains, and it was a cool setup. And I think when I went several months without booking any commercial work from my setup. And then the day the movers came, took everything out of the house to ship to LA. And my agent calls me up and they're like, yeah, you have to get this audition in before 4 p.m. that day. And I'm like, oh my God, the movers just took everything. I don't know where to put the mic where it's not echoey, because the entire house is empty now. I decided to go downstairs in the basement, where it was like a rock floor and plaster walls. And I'm like, all right, I'll just set the mic up right here and record this audition. And I sent it out, and I ended up booking it. And I was like, all right. So now my mind, and maybe the monkey mind again, starts saying, would you have booked that job had you recorded upstairs in the office? It's something about the change of energy, the change of scenery, the change of, just, vibration of being in the basement all of a sudden recording this audition as opposed to where I had been upstairs. Like things like that, just, it's almost like a little too coincidental to be coincidental. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you feel like there's something other than just randomness to that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, so yeah, I'm not sure what question I'm answering at this point. But,
it was about the advice thing, but I love the advice that you gave.
Oh yeah, so that's the other part of it. Just shake things up. Sometimes if what you're doing isn't working, you just have to change your perspective a little bit and try something different. Like I wouldn't have booked. Who knows? But I probably wouldn't have booked Sonic had they just kept the first audition that I did with the voice that I did that I cannot recall now. And had Michelle not said, let's try that again with the voice you just did, there's a great possibility that I wouldn't have booked that and someone else would have, so who knows? It's just all about sometimes just saying, all right, is what I'm doing not working out because I'm doing something wrong? And if so, can I figure out what that is and try something else? And sometimes the results you yield from that are incredible.
For sure.
Wow.
Yeah,
Great
and what you were kind of mentioning about just how, there's a lot of, I guess, rejection, and you're going through a lot of auditions and not really getting much of a response. That kind of reminded me of this quote. I don't know, have you read the book Audition?
Is that the Michael Shurtleff book?
Yes. Have you read it?
Yes.
Yeah, it reminds me of a quote in there. It's to go into acting is like asking for admission to the insane asylum. Anyone can apply, but only the certifiably insane are admitted. It's my favorite quote.
Well, there's a lot of truth to that, but a lot of those insane patients also have a lot of heart, maybe, or they're actors, unless you're just going into this to be famous or some bullshit reason like that, we're storytellers, and we come from a long line, as my acting teacher would say, of shamans and magicians. And the first actors were around campfires or not even campfires, but the fires that were sustaining the village, and acting out what the hunt. They were acting out the things that they had done that day, so that the other people who weren't with them were able to, in a way, experience that and understand it. And I think that's the deeper sense of what we do. We're trying to transmit ideas and experiences. And when someone can watch a movie, or they can see a performance or something that changes their mind about the life, I mean, that's nothing short of a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Because it can seem, or let's say it would almost have seemed a little crazy to me before any of this happened, so you can say that about cartoons or whatnot, but then to get the sort of response and fan mail that I've gotten, where people say, God, you really helped me through a rough time, and you gave me confidence, or something that you could never ever predict like that. It's, again, I just feel like there's something really to say about that, and how easily we could just brush it off as saying, oh, well, it's just voices, and it's just stupid cartoons, and it's, bullshit to sell cereal or whatever. But it's really not. I mean,
no,
it's not,
sure.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So,
actually, the acting in Sonic X is sort of what made me want to do it as well, just because there were certain scenes that made me feel a certain way as a really young kid, and I'm like, oh, I have all these emotions that I don't understand yet because I'm so young, but I love that, and it made me want to do the same thing. Yeah. So thank you for that.
That's really interesting to hear, because again, like, if people didn't tell me these things, I would I would never have come to those conclusions and
really?
said, oh, this cartoon is going to make people feel a certain way. Oh yeah. I just figured
it makes people definitely feel great.
Well, that's great. I mean, that's what else could you ask for, really?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree for sure. It's kind of like definitely for me when I was a kid. Like I drew a lot. I kind of stayed to myself or whatever. Really didn't have a whole lot of friends, and so it just kind of became a time where you don't really know where to get a certain confidence level from. You don't really feel like you have anyone you can confide into. No one can really talk to you. You don't really feel like you have someone that really understands who you are. Now, when I was a kid, I was definitely into Sonic a lot, and Sonic X came along that time when I was starting to get older. People are starting to form up like different groups with people or whatever, and I just kind of feel like I didn't really have anyone. So, being able to listen to not only watch Sonic, but just kind of hear his voice and the way that he talks to certain characters about certain things. I was able to put myself in the shoes of the characters that he's talking to, and then sort of gain those skills. Just watching that, just from listening to you guys perform all those years ago.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
for
man.
sure.
So, aside from voiceover and acting and all of that, do you have any other hobbies?
Well, right now it's unpacking. That's my number one hobby. I just started sort of building a voice booth. I don't know if this counts as a hobby, but there's a pretty big walk-in closet in my living room that is so wonderful. My wife, when we walked in, she's like, well, this is going to be your recording booth. I'm like, seriously? You're going to give me the whole closet? So, I sort of been transforming that. I'm a big reader. I love reading. I'm sort of a nerd or maybe it's a geek. I don't know what it is, but I love watching YouTube lectures, especially about conspiracy theories. God, I can get so wrapped up in that, and I got to be careful though who I talk to about them, because they can make my friends really, really irate at me. But I also love. Are you guys familiar with the Angry Video Game Nerd?
Yes.
Oh, sure.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Like that's my secret. That's my secret. What's the word? Not pleasure. God, I'm sorry, guys.
Guilty pleasure?
Indulgence. Yeah, guilty pleasure.
Oh, there you go.
Indulgence.
There you go.
I can watch hours of his videos because they just remind. Well, and this sort of throwback to what you guys are saying, because it reminds me of when I was 6-7 years old with the NES and just playing those 8-bit games. God, to watch someone play them and complain about them, it's like it's like being 6-7 years old again, and I think that's really cool, and it's not exactly mindless. There's some sort of connection that's being made. I also love watching. I can watch the walkthroughs of games that I've played, especially the CD-ROM games like Dracula Unleashed.
Wow! So
things
cool.
that. Oh my God! Yeah, I would. I'd get home, at night, and everybody would be sleeping, and I would just put on, or like Rise of the Dragon, just walk through on YouTube and watch it for like 2 hours until I finally said, "What am I doing with my life?" But that also, brings back, I think, simpler times, and it makes it kind of connects you with your past, because there were so many days spent playing those games, and and the people I played them with, and it's nice. It's like it's like stepping back into the past, I guess, for me.
It's like a good old dose of nostalgia to look back at it.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like straight to the serotonin or whatever level in my brain. I just want to grab potato chips and Twinkies and pretend like it's 1994 all over again.
Just go find like a beanbag chair or something, sit back and watch the AVGN.
Oh God. My wife wants to put a beanbag chair here where I'm sitting right now in the office, and I'm gonna let her. Because you know what? She's been right. I always tell her she's been right about everything else. So why wouldn't she be right about how comfortable a beanbag chair could be?
Right on. Actually, you know what? I was curious. Like speaking of that kind of thing, just going on things with nostalgia. If you had the opportunity to come back and play Sonic again in another project, whether that be a game, a show, or something like that, would you come back and do that?
Yes. Yeah, of course. There would be no reason not to. I can still do the voice, you know. However, that's not to say, do I wish that were the case?
Right,
you
but you
careful.
would.
You got to be careful.
Right. Right. It's not like, do you just every night think about how much you miss me?
Yeah. No. And that's the thing, you know. It's so when I first learned that they were going to cast someone else. It's like when someone you love or a lover betrays you. You know, that's the feeling, because you feel like you've gotten so close to something, and you are putting all your effort and your heart and your dedication into it, and and then people start to recognize you for it, and then for it to just go away, it seems like A, you did something wrong. B, there must have been something you missed along the way. You know, like it's your fault somehow. But it's not like that. And in fact, it's almost really quickly after being replaced, I just got over it. You know, and I started. It was a really great opportunity to learn that. Being grateful for something could sometimes be more valuable than having something. And I was so grateful for having that job. I mean, it was just such a, like a whirlwind of, just success. And then meeting the people that I met after that, and still working with those people to this day. You know, it's sort of like Sonic was just the door that I went through in order to progress into the rest of my career. And I didn't need to be him anymore to have that career. And that's not to say like, I don't care. It was just another character or whatnot. It was, it was a wonderful, wonderful time to do that. But, then again, I would never say I wish I were that voice again, or, but like anything, if there's very specific things I won't do. Like I won't do hentai or any of the, the fucking tentacle porn or whatever it is. And I've been offered, like people have said, would you like to do this? And I could make a pseudonym and it would be completely anonymous, but it's like not in my, I don't need to do it, And I think sometimes people take jobs because they need the money, and I think that's the wrong reason. Even if it's a lot of money, if it goes against your moral judgment, I don't know. Sure. I just wouldn't be comfortable talking to my mom and being like, yeah, I let a tentacle fuck me in the ass. There's not a lot of, I wouldn't be like, oh, well, I made $150 doing it. It's like, yeah, it's not worth it. I'd rather have my afternoon free and go get a veggie burger.
There you go.
Imagine someone stumbled upon that, like, hey man, is that you? And you're like,
right, yeah.
That's a situation where it's like I gotta do this under a different alias.
Yeah. Like,
no, man, that sounds like you. No, man, you're thinking of someone else.
Yeah. And that's not to say, listen, I know plenty of people who have done that sort of thing, and it's totally fine. Like, as long as they feel comfortable with it, I'm comfortable. That's fine. I I don't know. You got to kind of draw the line somewhere. It feels good to be able to draw the line. So, like to have a place where you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Like you have to have that. You have to have that. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, people will just use you.
For sure.
Yeah. Like I totally agree. Like I have a saying that I always go by is like there's no amount of money that's worth my dignity.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did someone tell the people who email me about all those weird photo shoots?
Photo shoots.
Oh, you don't get that? Okay, I get a bunch of emails in my work email. I'm like, all right, let's see what we got here. And they're like, hey, can you do a photo shoot with you tied to a chair and your feet getting tickled? I'm like, well, that's pretty weird. I'm not going to lie. And blocking.
I did not get that email. I did not get CC'd on that email.
I can forward you the opportunity if you want.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I could use the cash right now. Can they fly out to LA and can I be bonded to like a palm tree or something? God, I don't know. I don't know. That sounds a little crazier than what I get offered to like go to conventions.
The whole thing with being a female though.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Well,
yeah, you'll get that.
Yeah, I guess you gotta contend with that too. Yeah.
You know what? Actually, to shift real quickly, I know that like because when Mike was here earlier, he mentioned that he had to use Dean Bristow, who was a previous voice of Eggman, as an understudy to get his voice going on with Eggman, and you had to do the same thing for Ryan with Sonic, when you were first going on. Now, you were already established as Sonic and Sonic X before Shadow came along. Now, when Shadow was the thing, did you have to shadow? Did you have to shadow pun? Did you have to did you have to study off of David Humphrey's impression of the character, or did you just get to just do what you wanted since you were already established as Sonic?
No, yeah, I think I'm remembering this correctly. Again, this is 15 years ago, and it's either, and I'm pretty sure I'm let's say 90% sure it was for Shadow and not when I did the Usagi on TMNT.
Yeah,
that an engineer came in, and I was recording an episode of Sonic X, and the engineer's name was John Dixon, and he gave me a picture of Shadow and the lines and said, when you're done with your session, come next door, because it was all these recording studios right next door to each other. And he said, come in and I want you to read for this. And so I did, and they didn't play any reference for me. I was just told what he was like, mysterious and whatnot. And I knew at the time, I just moved out of, I was living in Astoria, Queens with a roommate. And my roommate sort of had this like voice that he would always talk like very down and dark, like that.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, I could see how that voice could translate into this character. So, a lot of what I was doing back then was just imitating people I knew or characters that I had sort of come up with my friends and said, all right, who does this fit? Who does, like when I did Usopp on One Piece, that was another character that, that Memorial Day, my friends and I all went to a park and there was a picture taken of me. And I was all hunched over, and I had these like John Lennon glasses on, and my friend Chris was like, oh my God, he looks like a troll. And I was like, oh, he probably talks like this. He's Eddie the Troll. And so then when I went in for that audition, it was like, oh, just, you just try things. What's the expression? Throw all the shit at the wall, see what sticks. That's sort of one of those things. And, a majority of the time it doesn't work out, but like with Shadow, it worked out. With Usopp, it worked out. But yeah, no, they didn't play me any references for that. Mm-hmm. I think, and I don't want to say it because it was less important, but I think it was just they might not have wanted something. They may have wanted just something completely new.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, because I think at that point, like according to Mike, I think he said like around like really like early on in the show, like they really wanted him to or I think all of you maybe, to just sort of have a point where you're now making the voices your own. And I think when Shadow came along, like well way after that was already a thing that was going on with the voice direction, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
How did the voice for Jet the Hawk happen?
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Oh man, that I don't even remember.
Okay.
I want to say someone said he's sort of like Sonic, but he's zany. He's like crazy. And Jet the Hawk was just am I mistaken in thinking he was just in the video games, right? We didn't do him on the show.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Just in the games.
So it was probably, you know what it was? I think that I didn't even audition for that. I'm pretty sure Julie Rath, who was directing the video games at the time with the Sega team who had flown in, I think I just showed up and she's like, "Oh, and you're going to do this character as well. So, think about a voice." And it's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, right, before lunch I'll have a voice for you," But that happens so much more than you would expect, because when people trust you and they've been working with you, a lot of times they'll just throw you apart. Like I was doing something, this new show, FLCL, or it's Fooly Cooley.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing Fooly Cooley?
Yeah.
Oh,
wow.
nice.
I want to say my character's name is, Masaru, I think. I'm so bad with remembering names that I don't hear on a regular basis. It's not like, oh, I played Tom. It's like I played, Masaru. But that was, that I didn't audition for that part, but, the director trusted me and he's like, "Oh, this would be a good part for you." And it's cool. It's cool that, to have that and have that, the luxury of that. But it's also very intimidating because when someone trusts you like that and then they bring you in, you really don't want to fuck up. You really want to do a great job that they were expecting from you, and not think, "Oh, I really made a mistake with that." So in a lot of sense of this whole business, it's, auditioning. You do a lot of auditioning, but when you book a part from that audition, you feel a little more like the rightful owner of that part, because you're like, well, at least they heard everyone else and they heard me and they decided on me. It's not like, "Oh, we think you can do this, so here you go. Now prove it to us." I also have this thing where I'm like, when you go into an audition, if you see like two people there, you sort of think, "Oh, God, like my chances of getting this are so good right now because there's only two people and me," and it's great. But when you book a job from an audition, you want to have had 7,000 people audition for that, where you wouldn't think that you wouldn't go into an audition and be like, "Oh man, I wish there were more people auditioning for this." But when you book it, you're like, "Yeah, well, how many people went out for that again? Oh, was it 1,000? Oh, that feels so good." Because when it's like, "Oh, well, I booked that part and only 2 other people auditioned for it," then it feels a little less like a victory,
Gotcha.
Cool. I actually have one question regarding one voice, and I know a lot of people are, they're gonna freak when I say this, but regarding the game Sonic Unleashed, how did the voice of Sonic the Werehog come about?
A lot of drugs. Again, that was one of these things where it's like, this is the character, this is what he turns into, and this is what you're doing. A director sometimes will say, let's find the voice. So they'll pick like a few lines and just have you do it. And then based on what you do, they say, "All right, let's try. Can you go deeper in your register with that? Try that, or older, younger, just like little adjustments." But, they're usually, they have confidence in you that you can do something with that. Like it's already in your wheelhouse. And now it's just a matter of like fine tuning exactly what you're doing. So that came from Chris Collet was directing that game, and they showed me pictures of what that character looked like, and they had some, I think rough videos still in the computer generation stage of some of the cutscenes in that game. And just based on that, I knew he was bigger, I knew he was more ferocious, and I knew he had a dark side, so I just made myself into that for that voice.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's really, really great.
It sounds like a lot of drugs, doesn't it? Make myself into I just totally made myself into that, man.
I think there was it an interview, or maybe I'm not too sure where it was, but there was some kind of a mention of you being sick when you had to record for that.
Yeah, it was really, really hard actually, and I thought, because I was so sick, I thought they were going to end. I thought they'd be like, all right, we can end early today. We'll at break after lunch, and maybe even someone said that.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say, I'm pretty sure I started a cleanse or something. I just met a guy who owned a health food store below the building I lived in, and he recommended all these juice remedies. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then I got sick. And so I just remember that session was so demanding, but there was no way that we could have done it the week after, because everybody had flown in from San Francisco and Japan, and that would have just been a horrible inconvenience. So like what happens, you just have to push through. And I went to the doctor. I didn't have strep, and I'm pretty sure it was the cleanse that I was doing that made me really sick. But I was drinking a lot of soup. I was just guzzling soup while we were recording that. And I want to say there was like a week. We did a whole week of recording. So some days were better, and some days were just like, I could have just, if they would have wheeled a bed in and given me like 5-minute breaks to just fall asleep, I would have.
Oh man!
But we did it. We made it. So maybe it works, because sometimes in those situations you push yourself a little harder. I've heard a lot of people say that was their favorite of the games.
Unleashed.
So
absolutely.
Maybe. Yeah. So maybe that could have been. There could have been something, just me trying, like saying, I got to get out of here. At the time we said we're going to end. I can't mess up over and over. Like whatever was in my head, just saying like I got to get this recorded and done. Helped like push a performance out that might not have been there had I not. But who knows? Again, this is one of these unanswerable things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Gotcha.
On the subject of the games, I don't know if this will be too hard to choose, but do you have a particular favorite game or any episode of Sonic X that you voice Sonic?
I just remember early on there was an episode where I don't think this is Delirium talking, but there was an episode where Sonic was pushing around a girl in a wheelchair. Is that
Ellen?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite episodes, because there was some funny stuff we did in that it was the first time I surprised myself with, I could actually be funny, or whatever we did, I was like, I didn't know I could do that. So that was a pretty cool episode. A lot of them go by in a big blur though, because many times we're recording a bunch of episodes at once. They're not showing me the whole episode, so I'm not really sure my ass from ice cream in most of the situations. But there's like, all right, we're going to do the 5 lines here, then we're going to do the 3 lines here, and then 2 lines here, and you do them, and you don't really have a context. The director does his best to explain everything, but a lot of times it goes in one ear and out the other afterwards. You do it in the moment, you understand what's happening, and then you forget it. Mm-hmm. And then as far as the games, I really liked working on Shadow the Hedgehog, because it was the first, and I just felt really cool recording that game. Like it was just such a, I don't know. Again, like I would picture myself is a lot of what I did throughout recording all the cartoons is just picturing myself playing the game at a young age, or I picture 10-year-old Jason watching this specific episode or whatnot, and it would give me a lot of motivation, because I'd say, all right, I want to entertain young Jason. I want him to say, oh, I love this game because of X, Y, and Z. So that was a big motivator, and I think Shadow the Hedgehog more so than any of the other games, just because there was so much dialogue. Like, it was just like a phone book script that I got. And it was mind blowing to me that I was the star of it, because that was sort of the beginning of all of that. And, from basically doing a little, anime project here before even auditioning for 4Kids, to all of a sudden it's like, oh, this game is going to be at all the stores and it's going to be you as the lead character. It was just, what was I, like 22 at the time, man? It's like nothing beats that feeling. Like, you're like, oh my God, this is, I don't want to disappoint anybody, but like, I feel really fucking cool doing this,
Yeah. Yeah, and it wound up pretty great too. So, I mean, that was actually sort of around the time where I started kind of catching up on like what would come out that was new. Like when I was when I became a fan, a lot of games had already come out, and one of the newer games was Shadow. And
cool.
Yeah, for sure. And it was pretty different, but really, really great.
Wow, that's great.
It's funny. Before we had you on, I think it was maybe about a couple of hours ago, we were actually playing. We were playing Shadow the Hedgehog on stream.
Oh, cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, I've got like one non-Sonic related question. Is that okay?
Sure. Yeah. Oh God, please. It's a rarity, and I welcome non-Sonic related questions.
Okay, cool. So who is your favorite singer, and why is it Elvis Presley?
Well, you answered it by saying Elvis Presley, because Elvis to me was if you look at every stage of Elvis's career, the 50s, he was like this rebel James Dean singer, just badass dude, and all of a sudden in the 60s he's a movie star, and he's making all these crazy, friggin' songs. And at the end of the 60s, he just begins performing again in front of live audiences. And all of a sudden, he's wearing these costumes. They're just like huge collars, bell bottoms. And he sounds completely different from what he sounded like in the beginning. Yet he still was amazing. Like, this dude was, to me, in my eyes, the closest thing to a superhero. Like, I'm not a superhero fan. I don't go see superhero movies. They kind of put me to sleep. But Elvis to me is like that is the dude. If I was stuck in a tree that was on fire, I would want Elvis to swoop in and save me. And it's so funny. I got picked on so bad, like around fourth, fifth grade, because that's really when my infatuation started. And people would teachers would call me Elvis, and they're like, "Oh, what's up, son? How you doing?" Like that. And I remember I knew an Elvis impersonator. He lent me a jumpsuit once, and I wore it. For the drama club, we were supposed to do this thing. We were supposed to lip sync our favorite song on camera. Well, I was the only person to do that. So I was the only person who showed up to school in an Elvis jumpsuit with a cape.
Oh my God.
And I just remember walking down the hall and someone just ripped the cape right off.
No!
I came to school once with an Elvis tape, and I showed one of my friends. He's like, "Oh, let me see that." And they fucking punched the tape and broke it. And he's like, "There you go."
Wow.
You got. I can't even imagine or understand the level of shit that I got for liking Elvis, but I never stopped. I never changed. Like, I never said, all right, well, that's too, like, I don't want to be made fun of anymore. I was like, no, this is my dude. Like, I connect with him,
Mm-hmm. Did you get inspired to have Did you ever have his favorite food, a good old banana and peanut butter sandwich?
Oh God, I have it. Yeah, quite a bit actually. I say that. Like Melissa, my wife Melissa, she wants me to stop eating so much peanut butter because I go to town on peanut butter. And I'm like, but you don't understand. It's Elvis's favorite food too. She's like, shut up. But I've never had it with bacon because I'm vegetarian. So maybe like tempeh bacon I'll try.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
So I have a little story about Elvis.
Sure.
I went to his Graceland, which was his house, when I was 13 years old. It was the very first. Oh no, 12 years old. It was the very first vacation I'd ever taken in my life. It was my grandmother, my aunt, my cousin, and we went to Graceland. And during the tour, there was he has a room called the Jungle Room, which is just furniture that looks like it was just made out of dead dogs. It's just so like fur, like everything's furry. When one of the tour guide wasn't looking, I reached over. 12-year-old Jason reached his 12-year-old hand over the rope line and pulled a clump of that furry hair out of one of the chairs, put it in a film canister, and brought it home. I'm so proud
my
of that.
God.
Oh my God! I have part of Elvis's chair, and I showed it to my dad, and I just remember, I'm like, Dad, do you want to see the Elvis fur? And he's like, yeah, let's see it. So I give it to him. He puts it in his hand. The moment he goes to look at it, there was one of those oscillating fans. It just blew it right out of his hand and like just into the ether. Like it wasn't like it landed somewhere and I could pick it up. It was nowhere to be found. And I was crushed. And I just remember my dad getting such a great laugh out of that. I'm like, but you don't understand. Then he picked some garbage up off the floor and he's like, here, just pretend this is that.
Oh no.
My God.
I'm sure you like watched those hairs fly out in slow motion.
It was just like it was there and it was gone. It was just gone. It was almost like Elvis, the ghost of Elvis came back to reclaim it. Well, I'll take that,
man. Oh my God.
Jeez.
That's just, oh man, just can't catch a break. Dude.
Yeah, well, I did. I caught a few.
Okay, that's good. Okay. Right on.
It's getting a little late, but I wanted to leave a few questions up for the chat. Would that be all right?
Oh, please. Yeah, sure.
All right, chat. Bring your best.
You know what to do. You know what to do now, chat.
Yeah, chat.
I'll bet you a nickel they're going to ask for a voice.
And that's going to be a whole lot of nickels.
I'm going to get a nickel.
Well, all right, like how many do we have time for?
What do you think, Em?
Let's ask Jason.
Jason?
As many as until it starts getting ridiculous.
Okay.
Okay.
So I guess we'll just go and then we'll just like let's.
You'll know it's time when I say, guys, let me shut you up for there.
Yes, that has to be the end. Okay, we gotta have it on record. Okay. So we got Merlina McQueen saying it's been 15 years.
Wait a minute, in Queens?
McQueen, Merlina McQueen.
Oh,
like Mick.
Like
Mick.
I'm sorry, I said Raymond in Queens. Sorry, I got really excited. I was like, wait. Okay, sorry. Guys. I won't interrupt anymore.
No, you're all good. They say it's been 15 years of waiting, and I want to ask you, what is your favorite line you ever did for Sonic? And also, could you do the line for us? Thanks. All right, well, guess I give up.
Oh.
There's my nickel.
Hold on, I have to take my Invisalign out. Hold on a second.
I have Invisalign too.
Oh my God, it's so great. It's wonderful. I can't do any voices with my Invisalign in because it makes me slur.
Oh yeah.
So my favorite line.
I cannot do it.
Oh, it sucks. It sucks so bad. I mean, well, I've gotten used to, like, I've been able to, I had to record an audio tour 2 weeks ago for somewhere in Canada. And I got like 15 minutes into it with the Invisalign in, and then I just started like, I don't know, something happened where I couldn't move my mouth the way it needed to be moved to say all these words, so I had to take it out. But I've gotten better at, talking to people. They usually don't they don't notice. All right, so I'll try to do the line. It's from the very first recording session I ever did for Sonic, and it took me like, I want to say like 10 takes to get it because it was such a tongue twister. But now I can do it because I did it so many times then. But I'm sure you guys have heard me do it already. But let me hold on. Remember, kids, don't use Formula One race cars when chasing hedgehogs.
I remember that part. Episode 1. Yes. I love that.
Yeah, wasn't he was on a police car, right? When he did that?
Yeah, he was on top of a car.
But it was young Sonic, so it was probably like, remember, kids, don't use Formula One race cars when chasing hedgehogs.
Yes.
Very nice. Very nice.
Oh man, the chat is freaking out. They're going, yes. They're cheering.
Do we still have the same 200 listening?
223.
Yeah, we have a lot.
223.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, like a whole just a whole like extra group of people just kind of came and we were getting you all set up, ready to come in.
Yeah.
Have you guys raised the kind of money that you were hoping to raise for the charity?
Yeah, I'd say so. We've raised a pretty decent amount. We're at actually, let me go ahead and look at.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah,
We're
it's been a while.
Yeah, we've raised over for $500.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Absolutely. So let's see.
Oh my, yes. Oh yeah, we have some extra ones too.
Yeah,
God, there's so many. Yeah, like
wait.
Yes.
Can I read this one?
Yeah, go
because I agree with them. They said, "Can Jason do Sonic's laugh from Sonic X?"
Oh my God.
Can you please?
No, sorry. What was the question?
Oh, they're asking if you could do like a Sonic laugh.
Sonic laugh.
Did
I laugh?
Yeah,
my gosh.
Yeah, like
in Sonic X, he was very recognizable through like this kind of giggle he did all the time.
God, I wouldn't even know what to do. I mean,
like it was if I may, it was a thing where like you would do it when he would do it through his teeth. So you have like this kind of thing happening when you do that.
Like that?
Yes. Yeah, that's the whole.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool.
Awesome.
Very ultrified dopeness. Very cool.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, of course. That's fun. Are you guys going to get to go to sleep at any point here? I don't even know what time it is, but I'm sure
at some point, like
yeah, for sure.
Oh,
yeah, like once we're given like the let me shut you up for everyone, we'll definitely get you like we'll get things wrapped up, and then I think we'll just kind of shut things down, and then we'll all like head to sleep. I think, but
it's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Definitely.
We've been on the air for about
16 hours.
At about
let's
say 4 o'clock, we'll have been on the air for about 17 hours.
Oh my God, guys, that's insane. God, I didn't even up for 17 hours.
All for a good cause.
Yeah, it's all good.
No,
worth every penny, literally.
That's great. It's really good.
Let's see. I'm looking for some other questions in here.
Yeah, keep going. Let's see what we can find in here.
There's so many. Oh, and by the way, Chad, if we don't get to your question, do not be upset. There are just so many that are happening right now.
The chat is scrolling so fast. We're trying to keep up.
Yeah, and there's a lot of requests.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to keep doing strictly those or.
Here's a good one. Someone was asking about Shadow the Hedgehog.
Okay.
Let's see. When you were this is a good one. This is from SuperMe 84 in the chat. Yes, it is 84. Okay. When you were recording for Shadow the Hedgehog, how was it like voicing with Sean Schimmel? Did you voice together or separate?
No. Yes, always separate. Sean is Sean's crazy. Sean's awesome though. I mean, he's a really cool guy, but I don't think we've ever been in the booth together working on something. I could be mistaken, but we definitely didn't do it for that game. that was like, they brought me in, I recorded everything, and then I think when they finally got picture for the video game, for the cutscenes, then they brought me back to do ADR and that stuff. But it was always separate. And I think that's the best, most time efficient way to do that sort of thing, because you don't have to. I've also done group records where what could have been recorded with me in an hour ends up to be 5 hours, because they wanted to bring everyone together, and you are sort of waiting around while other people are doing scenes you're not in, and so it just turns into this big sort of financial mess, I think, too, for the production company. But unless they can afford it and they don't care, and they just want that energy. But I never got to record with Sean together.
Okay. Interesting.
There are people in the chat asking if you have any interest in attending conventions.
I don't have a lot of time these days to go to conventions, and it's sort of the last one that we discussed. I think it was SonicCon. There wasn't. Let's just put it this way: there wasn't a lot of incentive for me to say, "I'd love to do this again."
Yeah, no, that's completely fair.
Totally understandable.
If it makes you feel any better, there are a lot of nicer ones out there.
Yeah, I'm sure. I get invited to things, but I think the last one I got invited to was at a school in New Jersey or something, and I just, I told my agents to look into it, and they said they would. And I'm not sure if they did, but that's sort of their department to sort of decide what is worth the time and what's not. And that's not to say this convention wasn't worth the time, but also at that time there was so much going on work-wise in New York, and especially since I was just about to leave to move here, a lot of people were trying to get in recording before I left. So it's sort of it's hard to say, because if the right one came along at the right time, yeah, for sure. But I know people that go to conventions, I want to say on a weekly basis, and that's not something I'm interested in, because I think you sacrifice your greater goal to do things like that. And I don't know, I don't really see myself as a convention type person either. I don't know how to really explain it, except I don't know, the panels are fun. If I could just walk in and do a panel and leave, but a lot of times you're there for an entire weekend, and it's you have to find things to do, and I'd be away from my family, so it's probably not doing any conventions anytime soon.
Yeah, sure.
Gotcha.
Someone in the chat is wondering, out of Sonic, Shadow, and Jet, who is your favorite to voice?
I guess I mean it all depends, on a lot of it had to do with which scenes I was doing, because I'd have favorite scenes, and
okay.
Sometimes there'd be a scene that was just maybe more challenging because of the dialogue, or you had to get something in under a certain time or whatnot. But I really like doing Jet. I mean, because I don't know, when I'm more maniacal, I think that's really fun for me, because I'm sort of a crazy person. Ask my wife, I'm a little nuts. So I think doing that actually helps channel that frenetic energy, to put it lightly, into something creative, as opposed to just bugging the shit out of my wife. Which she puts up with, she's very good about it, but I can get out of hand. I know I can.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. That's awesome. I would love to see that in person. Just a crazy voice. That's
no,
fun.
You wouldn't.
No,
no, you wouldn't.
Oh,
and then my sort of defense to Melissa, I'm like, but you're the only person that I act this way around. She's like, yeah, I know. Totally, I get it.
That's amazing. Oh man. Well,
Someone would like to know what your favorite Elvis song is.
Ooh, that's a good one. Right now, because it changes, I just heard again Elvis do. It's a live version of him doing "The Impossible Dream" from 1972, and he hits some notes that just send chills up my spine. Yeah, and I just I don't know if I had it in a playlist or something while I was packing or unpacking. And it came on, and I hadn't heard it in a while, and I just really listened to it, and I'm like, my God, like Elvis was really at the top of his game here. And so if you can check out "The Impossible Dream," 1972, I think it was from Madison Square Garden. That's a great song, and he just really, really like surprises. I think he surprises himself, and you can hear the band like hooting and hollering after the song ends. Like, man, you did it. You really, really did it. And he's out of breath and emotional. It's great. It's just great.
Actually, write that down. Wait, that song is what now?
It's called. I want to say it's from Madison Square Garden. It's definitely 1972. "The Impossible Dream," and it's live.
72. Possible Dream. Live. Cool. I want to check that out.
Yeah, it's you know, a lot of this just it for me, like the nostalgic factor weighs in too, because you know, I heard a lot of these songs when I was like 11 years old, and the effect they had on me. I know they didn't have the same effect on other people that I would share the music with, or you know, or my sister, or you know, anybody like around me, and I don't know why, but it was. I don't want to get too hokey about it, but it just felt like a little transcendent for me. Like it brought me to another place. And so I guess the way that you guys, you know, view Sonic and how you felt about it when you were young, like that's how I felt about Elvis. And in these songs, you know, they can just bring me right back to the summer of, you know, 5th grade and just how it felt. And, you know, I don't know, and it's really cool that I've been able to like hold on to that for all these years.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Very cool, man. Nice.
Let's see. I have. I see one question. Oh, this is actually one that I was wondering too. What was it like recording for Sonic in Super Smash Brothers Brawl?
Oh man, I wish I could remember. I don't even.
Oh no.
I want to say it was exactly like how the other ones were.
Oh,
that's
pretty okay.
Much,
so nothing different.
Yeah, I mean, they give you the script. The Japanese team weighs in and they talk to the director, and then the director translates for me, and that's pretty much it. I mean, like it's you know. You guys, I'm sorry. I can't really remember.
Don't worry about that.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, because like because like unless there's a story, like a big crazy story that happens, I assume a lot of it's just, you know, like I walk in, they give me the script, I do the voice, they tell me I'm great, and I go home. Like it's kind of a
I mean that's pretty. I mean and just, you know, tweaking and just getting it right. You know, it's all part of the job. And I mean, when I was doing that, I was also recording, I think, say like 3 or 4 other shows at the same time in the same studio. And so it's like it was really hard to just keep track of that sort of thing. Like I remember the Shadow the stuff pretty well, or Shadow the stuff. Oh my God, Shadow the Hedgehog stuff pretty well, and because that was the first. And then I remember some of the 06 stuff because that was the first like Sonic game I was going to do. And then I remember the Werehog, the Shadow, or the, you know, Sonic the Werehog, and Sonic Unleashed. Yeah, and there was another game we were doing at the same time as that. Black Knight, is it called?
Yes, Sonic and the Black Knight.
Yep, Sonic and the Black Knight.
So we recorded those at the same time, and I remember those. I'm not going to say well, but I just remember those because they were the last ones. You know, and but you know, there was some like the one you just mentioned. I just you know, I don't even have a reference point. Like if you were to tell me something specific about it that made a connection, I might be able to say, oh, right, and launch into some story. But right now it's just all a big blur of me walking into 4 Kids, finding the room that I was going into, and then, settling in for the next 5 hours to record. But I was super grateful, like all those, everything that came along, that's another piece of advice. It's just like, be really grateful. Because even after all the success that I've had, it's really easy to get, if you don't get a part that you thought you should have gotten, or, you think you disappoint yourself or put yourself down somehow, it's really easy to lose perspective and say, oh, nothing ever works out, or, this is bullshit, and, I should be treated better, or I should, be better off at this point. It's super helpful to like look back and say, oh, right. Like, God, there's so much that I have done, and there's so much to be grateful for. And as long as you're grateful, I feel like more is presented to you. When you become jaded and sort of lost, I feel like you're asking for more of that feeling. It's like, you guys are familiar with the law of attraction at all. It's the same premise.
Yeah. I totally agree. Mm-hmm. Without question.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, there's so many opportunities in this business, and you can lose out on a lot of them if you're in the wrong state of mind, and you're the person who has the choice over how you're going to perceive your own career, your own success, your own failures, because, things are not as they seem. Things, when they're bad, can get great really quickly, or vice versa. You could lose something that you thought was a done deal, a sure thing. So I think just realizing how fickle the business can be, you have to be your own best friend. You have to really stand by yourself, believe in yourself, and, make really wise choices as to if you want to prosper, or if you want to succeed in this business, you have to just remember that it comes with the territory. You're going to fail. You're going to lose parts.
Mm-hmm.
But not everybody gets to do this. That's the thing. Not everybody gets to be in the position, or even what, with what you guys are doing in design, and, these are sort of like dream jobs. And especially when you hit a higher echelon of that field, you can start taking it for granted. But then when you step outside of that, and especially when, I get asked a lot, like, how do I get into the voiceover business? How do I do that? And it always strikes me as like, oh, right, not everybody does this. It's really easy to lose perspective and think, anybody could do this. Anybody really could do what I'm doing. But it's not the truth, and maybe only because many people don't ever believe in themselves to the point where they're like, I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to ask for permission anymore. I'm not going to wait until someone gives me the green light. I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to fall on my ass. I'm going to do it really, really poorly at first. And that's great. Someone who's doing something poorly at first is a million times better off than someone who's just thinking about doing it and never does. And the person that's doing it poorly is going to get ridiculed, and they're going to get laughed at, and they're not going to get a job, and they're going to feel like less than who they are. But that's the person who ultimately is going to win out, and is going to be, sitting down to talk to someone about their success, Right. And there's really no formula for that except your own perspective. And if you're going to lose that perspective, or if you're going to continually evolve your perspective and make the necessary changes as they're presented to you, and not gloss over and say, well, you know what? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with, doing the work today, or I don't want to deal with putting forth effort. It's like the more you do that, the more you're not gonna be putting yourself in a position to win. And then when you have an opportunity and you blow it, you get even more upset at yourself, because deep down that this whole time you sort of you put yourself in a bad mood, and it's like, was your bad mood worth all the shit that you could have had? No, never.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. It's just kind of a thing where I definitely had to learn that there are just a lot of times where you have to take responsibility for your own happiness. It's kind of like things happen, things can suck, things can totally be unfair, but ultimately you're the one that holds the key to your own future to a large degree. And a lot of your attitude and how you deal with situations to which you found yourself has a lot to do with what ends up happening to you. So it's ultimately that the choice is yours on what you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would even modify what you're saying about happiness, because is great, and when you can have it, like, take it, it's great. But more important than that, I think, is meaning, like having meaning in your life.
Mm-hmm.
What would you rather have, a happy life or a meaningful life? It's really kind of it's a tough question to answer, but if what you're doing gives you meaning, then that's already going to drive you to, easier financial success, easier repeated success, and happiness will not elude you. It won't escape you as much if you're doing stuff that's meaningful.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's sort of a built-in thing. But if you're chasing happiness, then you kind of never know if you're looking at the right thing, or if it's just deceiving you, or and it robs you from this deeper, I think, connection to life. If you're just looking to be happy, that's a great thing to remember as an actor or in any field. That it comes with the territory that you're going to be upset, you're going to be disappointed. But it's like, how fast can you bounce back from that? How much can you take before you can break? And I bet you can take a lot more than you think. And sometimes, just sometimes, you're going to be sitting all alone, looking up at God and saying, "Am I supposed to be doing this?" Because that's where you are. And boom, that same day, you get a sign, or you get that part, or you get a little piece of the puzzle that you didn't have before, that if you just place it, you're going to get another one, and you're going to get another one. And that's why more people want to do what we do than actually do it, because it's fucking hard. It's really hard, but it's meaningful. And a life dedicated to that sort of thing is a noble life, and it's something that you can be proud of, and people will look upon your work and have wonderful things to say about it, as opposed to just saying, "Well, I just wanted to be happy. Or I just wanted money. Well, I just wanted, whatever that I didn't really just want. I wanted meaning in my fucking life."
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So, yeah.
I completely
Guys,
agree.
I told you to stop me when I was rambling, and nobody has stopped me yet.
I'm sorry.
No, we're all taking it in.
Yeah.
We're all like, yeah, man.
Wow.
I'm listening to myself at this point, saying, "Shut up! Just let these people go to bed."
No.
No. I think, to be honest, I needed to hear that.
Yeah.
Same.
Well, good.
Definitely here,
Yeah,
too.
I did too. There's many times I needed to hear that, and I had people tell me those things at the right time, because who knows, if you give up, let's just put it this way, who knows what you're robbing the world of? Who knows what piece of art or whatnot? And is it really your choice to give up? If life is calling you forth to some adventure, and you give up because you say, "It's my life," well, was it really? And maybe the whole world could have benefited by what was driving you the most, because maybe you and only you can be driven like that to a certain point, to some sort of creation that changes the world, or changes someone's mind, or makes someone not want to kill themselves, or makes someone want to be a better husband, or a better father, or a better neighbor. That's our responsibility. It's a responsibility. It's not about being famous. It's not about being rich. It's about being someone that can convey a message to someone that might not have gotten that message.
My God.
Wow.
It's really like, There's no other way to put it. It's like it's a responsibility, and you're responsible to yourself. You're responsible to the people you work for. You're responsible to your art, and what you're doing is important. It's not, there's a great question. It's like, what makes us interested in things? What actually makes us more interested in one thing and not another thing? And that's a really hard question to answer if there is even an answer. But maybe it's this metaphysical thing that we can't completely put our finger on, but we're just like a compass. We're being directed in a certain way, and our life is supposed to be dedicated toward the pursuit and the journey towards that thing. Like, we get the slightest indication of, like, this is where you're headed because you're interested in these things. Mm-hmm. And the more you travel along that road, you're going to run into all the potholes and the ruts and the shit like that. But you know what? Like, that road is paved with magic. I mean, there's no other way to put it. There's just things that you can never, ever, ever predict happening will happen. Things that you would say, not in a million years would I think that this would happen or that would happen. Like, those things happen, but if you're true to yourself and you just follow that instinct that you have and never compromise. Don't do hentai. Don't say, you know what, well, this is fine. I'll just compromise this one time because, one compromise leads to another, leads to you dying. And, we're all going to die. So, I think, people can do wonderful things in that, and they just have to give themselves a chance. And I think that's something that people need to hear more of, that they need to give themselves a chance and fail. I have a friend who just tweeted something out. She was like, man, I didn't get this part I really wanted. I was right for it. I got a call back, and, it would have been a great opportunity, and going on about it. And I wrote to her and I'm like, listen, this is a rite of passage. Everybody has to go through this. You don't want to be a success without having failed. You don't. You think you do. You think you want an audition where only 2 people are going to show up and you're one of them and you get the job. You actually want the audition where 1,000 people showed up and you got the job. It's just a different perspective, but ultimately it leads to this fleeting thing we call happiness. It's not the pursuit of happiness. It's the pursuit of meaning that brings happiness.
Wow.
Wow. I honestly, dealing with my own struggles in life, I honestly really needed to hear that. So I really want to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
$100
an hour.
Anyone else just like looking up at the ceiling, like taking it all in, like, wow, man.
Yeah. Like it's just, it's I think honestly for a lot of us growing up, because a lot of us, we were kids who were growing up into being adults now, and a lot of our struggles that we go through are just because we just kind of have this sense of misdirection. You know what I mean? We're just kind of like, like, what's out there, what's waiting for me, like, what am I supposed to do, like, and with what or whatever, and just kind of hearing that and just kind of getting the answer that we sort of figure that out for ourselves, and just how important it is, not for just us, but for the rest of the world to understand what we can offer it. It's really good to hear, and it's really eye opening, and it's like the perfect note to end this night on. I just really want to, just on behalf of Emi and AJ and everyone in the chat, people that aren't here, people that don't know about it or whatever, just thank you so much for giving us that message there.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys too. It really blows my mind that, first of all, that anybody wants to hear what I have to say about anything. But it feels, it's really nice, man. And it's an honor to talk to you guys and to the 223 people. I thank you guys. If it weren't for you, I I wouldn't have had the career that I have, and it really makes it all worth it to hear you guys say what you do. And I really hope that each and every one of you just, follows your instinct and makes, the choices in your life that are sometimes hard, but will ultimately bring you to your goal. And I think you guys obviously are aiming in the right direction. If you're doing something like this, that's raising money for charity, and God, staying up for 17 straight hours and talking, which is insane. I mean, those are all pretty good indicators that you guys are on the, you're taking the right path. You're not just sitting in your parents' basement with Cheeto dust all over you and the glow of the television screen. Actually doing, going out and making some sort of a difference. And that's, I'm going to say, and maybe sadly so, that, the people like that are in the minority. And maybe, if you're able to reach out to as many people as you could change that. And that might save the world.
Gotcha. Will do. Thank you so much, man.
Yeah.
That's very moving. Wow. Thank you.
Guys, get some sleep.
We shall.
Thank you so much, Jason, for coming on here. I really appreciate it.
It was an absolute
pleasure.
pleasure.
Sure. Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we'd love to. All right, man.
Cool.
Well, thanks so much for coming on. You have a great night. Say hello to your family for us, and we'll see you soon, okay?
Yeah.
I will. Thanks so much, guys. Talk to you soon.
Rest well.
See ya.
Bye.